Alright, so since getting this place, I've remained pretty busy. There's a lot of stuff to do. Been working on my horse trailer, which is basically my shop now. It's got a lot of stuff in it, and it's not real well organized, and I've got a pretty screwed up back, so I got to take a lot of breaks. But um, I'd like to fill you in on situation with Dennis Dickinson. Um, I'd also like to fill you in on all the stuff that my autism advocate has been doing for me. And by the way, she's volunteer. She doesn't get paid for that. And I'm a lot of fucking stress. I really am. I don't make things easy for people. It used to be a lot easier. I was a lot easier to deal with, but after all this, yeah, it's difficult to trust anybody. It's difficult to believe anybody, and for good reason, you know. I mean, most of these situations that I was in, I was just manipulated. Right? That doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to know that somebody that you once trusted abused your situation to get something out of it. Lied outright to your face because they wanted to utilize what little resources that you had, even though they have their own resources coming in. But there's also the situation of how the police are handling these things. The police are terrible. I mean, once you get a reputation, whether you did it or not, it doesn't matter. When a police officer tries to pretend like you were trying to hurt them, when they were trying to break your fucking arm, there's some major issues. In all of these cases, I'm going to tell you about a few of them. There's a lot of them. They did the same thing over and over and over again. When you try to turn in these predators and also these officers who are allowing these predators to get away, first thing they try to do is lock you up in a mental institution. That's the very first thing they try to do. They turn off their body cameras and try to make it their word versus yours. Because obviously, you're the criminal and you must be lying to try to get out of it. And they play on that. If they can call you mentally ill, more's the better. And I've heard a lot of black folks complain to me, tell me, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to walk through a neighborhood and have the cops pull over and harass you just because you're the wrong color. You're absolutely right. But they didn't pick you out because of your color. They picked you out because they assumed that due to your color, you would not get an honest day in court. You were probably impoverished, and so on and so forth. And you know what? That's actually right. Most people that I was locked up with were locked up because they were broke. That includes the minorities, and there were a lot more minorities in the jails than there should have been statistically. When I was in Arapahoe County Jail, oh my God, that's severely screwed up. That shows you the racism in this country. But it also shows that it's not just racism. Most of those black people that I was in jail with, guess where they were when they were arrested? They were homeless. I got to see a guy who was busted with half a pound of methamphetamines walk out of the courtroom. He got to walk. While most of these homeless people, many of the minorities, they're locked up for petty offenses, drinking in public. And you know what? A lot of them may have actually done that. There's a possibility that every person that they arrested for drinking in public was drinking in public. There is that possibility. But there's also the fact that so many people who are homeless were locked up for stupid stuff and they were stuck there at your expense while this drug dealer is going to go out, get some more meth, and sell that meth to make up for what he lost. Are the courts doing anything good for us? Are the police doing anything good for us? When I tried to, this is why you need an advocate. If you don't have family, you have to have an advocate present, especially if they can call you mentally ill. Someone in person. Someone in person. Most of these people, although the police had one thing to say about it, these people had another thing to say about it. While the police were busy slandering my name, I'm getting messages from Mandy Hughes telling me that she can't do what it is that she said she was going to do because she's sick, because her kids are sick, because her hot water heater blew. I'm getting to hear it at Erin Cockerham about how her son's jaw is broken and she has to go into this and she has to go into that. And I'm hearing about all these people, all of them have all of these reasons. Now, are they reasons or are they excuses? See, here's the difference between a reason and an excuse. If you made it up, it's an excuse. If it happened, it's a reason. Pretty simple. If I'm late for work because I was busy smoking crack and I say my tire blew, that's an excuse. If I'm on my way to work and my tire blows, that's a reason. But here's the difference. Let's say your tire blows and you have AAA. You're one of them goody two shoes type of folks. You can have somebody come out and change your tire for you. That's great. Now you have a piece of paper that you can show your boss. Your boss will probably look at you funny and go, "You can't change your own fucking tire." But still, you got proof right there. Now, what if your boss doesn't want to see that? What if your boss fires you? Not for being late, but for making up an excuse. And you're like, "But I have the receipt right here." I'm not gonna look at that. You're already fired. Whew, damn. Don't have an emergency on the way to work. I usually try to show up to work at least half an hour early. The reason for that is because, well, it takes about 20 minutes to change a tire. Now, what happened in these situations where I was trying to turn in the police? Well, the police utilized their status in order to prevent me from writing a report against them by taking me to institutions and hospitals. Yeah, I'm trying to make a police report. That's probably going to piss me off, especially if you're driving me out of jurisdiction and I'm stuck there for 3 days. I'm trying to get help over abuse that I'm having to put up with that you're ignoring. There's literally no way for a disabled person to make these reports. Somebody else has to do it for me. Is that stupid or what? It's not my disability, and most of this anyway, it's not my disability that prevents me from making a report. It's how I am treated because of people's assumption of that disability. Now, you got somebody in a wheelchair, right? That's disability, but you can see that disability. Now, that person in the wheelchair, if they got to get to the second floor in order to file a police report, there better be a way to get there. Now, if you shut down the elevators and You actively remove the wheelchair ramp when somebody needs to go into court or someone is trying to take you to court, is trying to file a report against you. Now you're doing something really screwed up. Then there's the fact that all you got to do is charge somebody with a false crime, falsely charge somebody with assault against a police officer. That's all you got to do. Every police officer that you got to deal with after that has got something up their sleeve. Every single one of them. Some of them are just going to start off being assholes right off the bat, like those ones in Wyoming did in Rawlins. Now, if you've listened to the conversations between me and Rihanna, you know what a fucking shit storm that was. And you know that I wasn't the bad guy. You got to hear from her own mouth because she was drunk that I didn't break those things. Those kids are fucking tyrants. Yes, I recorded phone calls with myself and Rihanna to show that I was the one telling the truth. And I got the paperwork to show that I got ran over in court. That I could not financially even make it to court. Why couldn't I financially make it to court? Because of an assault by Waylon Lolatai over an assumption, over a crime that I did not commit. Police across the state of Colorado and in parts of Nebraska took part. How screwed up is that? Took part in separating me from those people who were trying to help me. Took part in harassing me and threatening me and assaulting me and scaring the living hell out of the people who were trying to help me through intimidation methods, through slander, utilizing the media in order to try to destroy my name and my reputation. Fuck the police. I believe my printer just got here. See, that's something that, all right, when Natalie died, I was still renting here at low income here in Chapel, Nebraska. Ken and Leah stealing all of my money prevented me from coming back here. They stole my stuff and thought it was going to be fine. Well, the paperwork from here shows that, yes, this is where I should have been. After Natalie was killed, after she disappeared, I should have been able to come back here. I was trying to help the officers with the things that they had asked for. And look how much I have had to go through because of that. Look at how much abuse from law enforcement I have had to endure because of that. Those cops weren't interested in the truth. They thought they had their man. Maybe they should have fucking listened to me. But because even the officers that I showed that to, like when I was in there showing those officers in Broomfield, and mind you, that's a murder case, so they're not going to be able to just destroy that evidence. They spoke to me about Natalie Bollinger's death. Well, about her disappearance. We didn't know she was dead yet. They did. Go here, go there. Oh no, you're doing it wrong. You have to do it this way. Oh no, somebody else must have misinformed you. This is how you're supposed to do it. That's how you're supposed to do it. All you're doing is getting in my way. All you're doing is creating roadblocks. It should not be this impossible for a disabled person to get help. Instead, the police, who didn't do their jobs before Natalie died, or after Natalie died, yet to use my disabilities as an excuse for their violent crimes. And these were violent crimes. Being assaulted by Waylon Lolatai, that hurt like a son of a bitch. I do have a high pain tolerance. But when you are trying to break my fucking wrist, wedging it sideways in the handcuffs, and trying to lift my arm up over my head across my back, no. You do not get to charge me with attempting to assault an officer. You don't get to charge me with assault with a weapon. And I have no teeth. You don't get to pretend that I tried to bite you. Your body cameras show that if my mouth was open, I was busy talking. At no point in time did I try to bite anybody. At no point in time did I have a fucking weapon. But you know what? It's okay for cops to do that. Police have been doing that to me since Natalie died. Well, since before Natalie died, actually. Because when Natalie and her family lied in Chesapeake, Virginia in 2016 and claimed that I was stalking them, the police broke my vehicle. And when I tried to turn in those police officers in Chesapeake, Virginia, guess what happened? They played stupid. Their dispatch played fucking stupid. When I finally got through to their superiors, they played fucking stupid. Like, if you don't look at the evidence, magically it means that that person is making it up. Like, if you don't look at the evidence, that it magically makes everything that you did okay. I want you to imagine a heinous crime is a heinous crime. Whether it's murder, child molestation, rape, or taking advantage of a disabled person. Yes, that is actually a heinous crime. It's considered more heinous. Raping an old person or raping a child. Oh, yeah, those were looked at and frowned upon a lot more seriously than just raping an adult. Just, no, it's still wrong no matter what. It is still a heinous crime no matter who you do it to. It is still a heinous crime no matter what your gender or what your religion is. It's still a heinous crime. Now, with the police, what they did to me, their assaults against me and the things that they did to, as well as Clearview. If that had been a cop who that happened to, if it was the other way around, they would have looked at every piece of evidence that they could. They wouldn't have ignored anything. Oh, somebody assaulted an officer. We better look into this. But when somebody assaults me, they're not going to look into shit. They're going to do their best to help frame me for a crime that I didn't commit. And they did that repeatedly. Now, don't get me wrong, there are crimes that I committed. And I have wholeheartedly admitted to those crimes. Matter of fact, I even told you the reasons for those crimes. And those reasons for those crimes is what? All of the shit that I did to try to do it the right way, that I was denied that right. Denied that right. Repeatedly, over and over and over and over. Now, I went down to try to get a bank account open. Of course, I have to have ID in order to do that. So I'm still waiting on my ID. They said it could take up to 20 days for it to get here. Every time I tried to turn in the police, I was either arrested, threatened, assaulted, or just blown off. That doesn't feel very good, does it? What those officers did up there in Tacoma, Washington, when I tried to turn in Officer Schneider, they did the same thing that the officers here in Chapel, Nebraska did. The same thing that the officers in Boulder, Colorado did. The same thing. Same exact thing. Same thing they did in Longmont Hospital. Pretty fucking gross. Same thing that happened at the Rawlings Hospital. What's the moral of the story? Is it don't turn in bad police? Is that what it is? I mean, if you look at the conduct of those officers towards me, the things they said to me versus what they wrote down in their official reports for the courts, yeah, those fucking Piggly Wigglies lied out their asses. And then you listen to Rihanna and the conversation with her, and it really puts in perspective how fucked up what those cops did really was. Goddamn country.